Coming up today, Eagle Eyes on Tech, Twitch puts out their roadmap for future features, including monetization for all streamers. We'll get into detail on that. Intel lied about its newest GPU to no one's surprise. AMD actually manages to launch a GPU successfully. Apple announced a ton of new upgrades rather quietly to the point where we didn't even know. And a whole bunch of weird tech over at Mobile World Congress. All that more coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or it's 2 a.m. Go to bed already. This is Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. We got a lot to talk about today, mostly because I kept putting off and kept forgetting to talk about Twitch's roadmap that was announced a couple of weeks ago, actually. It's kind of embarrassing. I completely forgot about it. But we're going to cover all of that. First, though, I want to talk about the situation involving a streamer that has no likability. Like if you like this streamer, you might be a bad person. Like, that is how unlikable this guy is. I am, of course, speaking of former Twitch streamer, former YouTube streamer, and former Kick streamer, because all three of these platforms have left this absolute piece of human trash go, Mr. Johnny Somali. We talked about him before. He is what is referred to as a nuisance IRL streamer. He literally just goes out there with a IRL live streaming setup, lets trolls in his chat, just send out text-to-speech messages over speakers that are in a backpack, goes ahead, actively causes problems, actively tries to go ahead and harass people, actively tries to go ahead and get a reaction out of people. He's done this in Japan. He has done this in Jerusalem, both of which ended up just kicking him out of the country. And then they tried doing this in South Korea. And South Korea said, we're not going to kick you out. You're going to stay here. And that's exactly what they did. They took his passport, and he has been stuck in South Korea pending criminal charges. Recently, he has now gone into court wearing a suit that is way too big for him and wearing a MAGA cap that he was told to remove in court several times, and has pled guilty to 3 different charges of obstructing business and what is referred to in Korea as the Minor Crimes Act, which is basically around here in the US what we consider disturbing the peace. There's also 2 other charges that are going to be introduced that have been also revealed. One of which is actually a major crime in South Korea, involves creating deep faked pornography. This idiot is facing serious jail time, and I seriously pray. Like, I try to stay out of politics entirely, but please, all government forces, let him stay in Korea and serve out this sentence. Please, oh please, oh please. I talk about how there are just some streamers out there that are such a problem, they give other streamers a bad name. This is one of them. Someone in chat asked, who is he deep faking? As far as I'm aware, no one with notoriety, but the person saw that she was being deep faked and pressed charges. Because unlike in most of the world, for some reason, in Korea, you can't do that at all. Which, honestly, not gonna lie, kinda based. Especially with how crazy easy it is getting to use AI to go ahead and make deep fakes like this. So, right now, it is unclear how much jail time this piece of human scum is going to be facing. But right now, it is very clear he is going to be facing jail time. How much of it? It's unsure. We do know he is heading back to court. And considering the fact that the last time he went into court, he was an hour late to your own court case. That's really great for you. Hungover, and also live streamed himself on a nothing platform known as Party that had even more criminal evidence including evidence that he showed off during the stream of charges involving the deep-faked pornography, as well as showing that he was blatantly abusing controlled substances. I don't understand how someone can be this dumb. I legitimately do not. But for that, I say good riddance. We're not going to miss the guy. All right, let's get into the Twitch stuff I have been accidentally ignoring. All right. One of the main reasons, someone actually even in the pre-show mentioned that my browser of all the things I had planned has a lot of tabs. A lot of them is in fact streamer news, which we're just going to knock out right now. It's going to be pretty rapid quick. All right. We're going to quickly go over Twitch's 2025 plans that were announced. We're going to be using Zach Busey's Twitter post here as guidance for this. First things first, the first thing that's announced was shared hype trains. So if you are using the guest star feature on Twitch, and if one of the two has a hype train, it is shared between the two of them. So subs or bits to either streamer or any of the streamers in the co-hosted stream are all shared together for one big hype train. So honestly, I'd say good. Interesting little feature. We'll see if it gets a lot of use. I personally don't do a whole lot of collab streams, but I also mostly when I'm on Twitch do single player RPGs. So, you know, I'm kind of in my own weird niche. We're going to be seeing vertical and horizontal video on mobile. So if you are foolish enough, you could go ahead and have vertical streams on Twitch in addition to your normal horizontal ones. I don't know how much use that's going to get, but okay. There's going to be more improvements to the clip editing features. We'll see what that ends up being. There is going to be an automated best moments of a stream so that a streamer can go back and make clips of those best moments. I'd say make highlights, but Twitch is actively killing the highlights feature. I don't know, did we talk about that in the stream? By the way, Twitch is killing the highlights feature by putting a hard limit of 100 hours of VOD content you can have on your Twitch page. Now, I personally don't use the VOD feature all that much, but to put it in perspective, as someone who actually doesn't use the VOD feature all that much, I currently have 864 hours and 52 minutes of highlights and uploaded content on the video storage. This includes past broadcasts and whatnot, by the way. And as of the day before, and as of April 19th, content will be deleted until you're down below 100 hours. Personally, I could care less about my VOD and highlight content because I personally go out of my way for a over-the-top storage system so that anything I want to keep, I just keep here locally. I'm just going to let the deadline pass and see what it deletes. See what ends up happening. Now, this storage does not include short clips. It does not include short clips. So that is fine. All right. Now, here is the one that is the big talk. For Twitch's 2025 plans, bits and subs available on day one for all creators. In addition, there's going to be custom power-ups and guilds expanding globally. Guilds expanding globally, I think, is very minor. Guilds is kind of just... I don't like guilds. I personally don't like guilds because I personally don't fall into any of the guild categories. It just feels like a whole bunch of cool kids clubs that fit under certain descriptors, most of which are identity-based or gender-specific, and I thought we're all supposed to be just people. But, you know, that's just me. Custom power-ups, I'm very curious to see what people come up with. Power-ups, if you don't know, these are the ability for you to spend bits. And currently, the only power-ups available are making on-screen celebrations, having effects on your messages, or making giant emotes. So we'll have to see what custom effects end up coming up down the road. But Bits and subs available for day one for all creators. This means the instant you start streaming, on day one, you can already collect bit revenue and subscription revenue. Do you want a really hot take from Eagle? Here's a really, really hot take. Probably my hottest take without daring to dab into the forbidden pie of politics. All right. Here's my hottest take. I think the bits and subs being available for all creators is a terrible mistake. Hear me out. Okay. In order for any streamer to have a sub button or to receive bits through cheers, you have to fill out tax forms, contracts, and various things in order to legally be a subcontractor of Twitch, which is what every single Twitch affiliate and partner is. And also it means that you are now being tracked for taxes by Twitch. Okay. Twitch already has a big staffing problem. We're actually going to get into that a little bit more later on. But basically, Twitch is trying to operate at as little staff as possible to get themselves out of the red monetarily. Right now, the only way to start getting revenue through bits and subs is to just meet the bare minimum requirements for affiliate, which honestly are pretty bare minimum. It's 50 follows. It's streaming for like, God, what is it? Like 10 hours over a month? I actually should go look this up real quick. I actually don't remember where to go ahead and find the requirements for affiliate. Oh, here we go. It is get 50 followers, stream for 8 hours, stream on 7 different days, and have an average of 3 viewers. Average of 3 viewers is by far the hardest one to achieve and all that. But the rest of it is nothing. It really isn't anything. But by eliminating that, by saying anyone can go ahead and do this sort of thing, this means that now anyone can just fire up a stream and immediately start receiving money, which sounds fine on paper. Someone starts off, they can start monetizing their hobby right away. Win-win. What if I have a scheme going? What if I go ahead and start sending bots my way? What if I start using those bots and use stolen credentials for Amazon accounts to start funneling Twitch Prime money into a brand new account that just got set up? What if you do the same thing with stolen credit card numbers for cheers? There is now, because of this goal, a day 0 pathway to monetize a stream, and it's just going to create a ton of more work for your already stressed out fraud department that already has a hard enough time moderating what you've currently got going on Twitch. This is an awful move. This is an awful move for, you know, what originally looks like a decent, wholesome, good idea, and it keeps up with sketchy platforms like Kick. But when push comes to shove, this is just an open path for fraud. And quite frankly, when the only other platform that does this sort of thing, that goes ahead and monetizes right off the bat, is Kick, the platform that doesn't give 2 F's about anything, and quite frankly runs on your stolen source code and is powered by illegal gambling money, it's not really a platform you should be actively competing with. You should be focusing on cleaning up your own platform. You should be working on trying to normalize your moderation. You keep telling us you're going to go ahead and normalize your moderation. You're going to keep telling us you're going to plan on, smoothing it all out, being more consistent. And what ends up happening? Well, you get streamers that actively promote the assassination of sitting senators getting banned for a day, and virtual avatars in safe for work clothing that is slightly against your TOS being banned for months. One is an actual crime. The other is not. and your punishment is the exact opposite. You need to get your stuff together, Twitch. This is becoming insane. But no, please go ahead. Enable bits and subs for everyone. Let the lines between non-affiliate, affiliate, partner, and eventually ambassador get blurred more and more to make us wonder, what's the point of any of these milestones? Let's go ahead and focus on that as opposed to focusing on, I don't know, cleaning up the actual problems that make you seem like actual clowns. Like, I hate to say it, but I had high hopes for Dan Clancy. I really did. The way he ran things, he actually came with a plan and everything. Everything looked good. But holy smokes, his priorities are so bad that it's really starting to get to the point of being, you know what? You gotta go. I'm sorry. The direction you're taking this company is terrible. Someone in chat asked the bits for watching Twitch things would give us a reason to watch. Here's the thing though, the bits for watching ads thing, they couldn't get advertisers to be on board for it. That's the main problem. Like, they just absolutely could not get that under control. There was just too many people abusing the system, and they could not get people to be on board, because for those, companies had to pay extra for those sort of features, and they just weren't seeing the returns, which is a shame, because I thought personally it was a good idea. Alas, no such luck. Now, if you want more reasons why I absolutely believe that Dan Clancy's current direction of the company is awful, I bring you this bit of news, also from Zach Busey. I'm saying this wrong. Twitch has now publicly made available their policy for how they are moderating things. Before, the global moderators were called the Safety Advisory Collective, which was a stupid name. Now is the Safety Advisory Council, which is a slightly less stupid name. Here's the big problem, though. The new definition of these two... Oh, no, I'm sorry. The old was the Safety Advisory Council, which was a decent name. Now it's the Safety Advisory Collective, which now also states that the Safety Advisory Collective are not employees of Twitch. They are volunteers. Your entire platform that is deciding how things are done, how content is moderated, is done by a bunch of volunteers? Oh, but this is better. This was done back in May of 2020. 5 years ago. What have we been saying for 5 years? That your moderation is awful, inconsistent, and needs revamping. Lo and behold, we found the problem. There it is. Here is your freaking problem. Oh, but think of the savings. This needs to be dissolved, and you need a better plan, and you need it immediately. Because every single freaking year, Dan Clancy has to get up on stage at frickin' TwitchCon and go, oh, well, the moderation isn't up to our standards, but it's going to be more transparent and better this year. And it never is. It has not been better for the last 3 years. For the last 3 years, he's been saying that it's going to be better, and it has not been better. This is why you have a bunch of unpaid volunteers with their thumb up their butt. Gee, why is the guy promoting terrorists still on the platform, but people who show a little too much midriff not? Oh, there it is. Oh no, I'm sorry. The people who virtually show too much midriff are out. But the people who are also almost basically naked, oh no, they're still on the platform. This is why your entire freaking mod team are volunteers. It's one thing for a small streamer to have volunteer moderators. Heck, a lot of major streamers, a lot of big streamers actually pay their moderators. It is actually a job for some larger streamers to moderate their chat. But Twitch can't afford a moderation team for the global moderation board. This is insane. This is actually insane. Twitch, what are you doing? I'm sorry, but this whole thing, the safety advisory collective, scratch this. Get rid of every single person on this entire board. Get rid of every single volunteer. Don't worry, you don't have to pay them a severance for getting rid of them, and actually go ahead and hire some proper moderators that actually go ahead and have some freaking standards, because this is an embarrassment. And while you're at it, whoever came up with this idea, fire them too. This is stupid. We could talk night and day about placements of ads on what kind of streams, or ad revenue, or features that should have come back, or things like bringing back hosting, or giving a small amount of bits, like 2 or 3 for watching a stupid ad, or something like that. You know, we could talk about that all day. Here is the biggest cancer in the entire company. Right here. Your moderation team having no standards. Clean this up. Clean this up before any of this other wish list. All right. Yeah, I'd like to see improvements to the clipping feature. Yeah, I'd like to see vertical and horizontal video on mobile. We'll see how that goes. Oh yeah, shared hype trains. That sounds great. You know, custom power-ups. Hey, cool. I got ideas. I could go ahead and figure out what to do with that if I learn how to code. This needs to go ASAGDP, because this is going to kill the platform, and it already is. Let's take a break so I can cool off. When we come back, I still have more Twitch things to go over, and then we'll get into the Ublock situation. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. We still have a bit more little bits of Twitch news, because there's a lot that I've just been kind of sleeping on. One of which is now Twitch gives viewers the ability to go ahead and report streamers for viewership tampering. This is referred to using bots to tamper with viewership, follower, and other channel statistics via artificial inflation. So, like, we used to joke back in the day that if a streamer had a few more viewers than they normally do, that they were view botting, and that's it was just like, oh, it's just like all one big old joke. You know, it was all silly and in good fun. Now it's serious business. Nowadays, for starters, it actually is a legitimate problem. It's no longer just like something we're just kind of casually making fun of. It is actually a rampant problem. And now there's a very easy way to go ahead and report that sort of thing. So, you know, we'll see if that's abused. That's all I can say at this. We'll see if that's abused or not. Hopefully not, but if there's one thing I know about bad actors in the viewing space, they're going to go ahead and do it. In other news, Russia, or rather a Moscow court, fines Twitch for violation of personal data law and is looking for $145,000. I'm not gonna lie, I would not be surprised if this is just ignored. The thing is that, like, Russian courts right now, it is almost a meme with just how many different cases in Russia are trying to go ahead and just snipe out tech companies for large sums. In fact, actually, $145,000 is about the most reasonable one we've seen so far. There was trying to get Google for 20 times their net worth. There was another court in Russia that tried to get Twitch for the entire world's GDP, about the most unserious amount there is. Now we have another one for $145,000. Look, I get that the economy in Russia is absolute garbo right now, mostly because of the political state that Russia is in, locked in a stalemate, never-ending war, and sanctioned by the world, which is drying up funds severely. But they still have the desire to go ahead and continue with this nonsense stalemate. So they're looking for any way to continue funding. But this is getting a little silly. This is about the corporate equivalent of me telling someone, you owe me $10. Actually, it's probably closer to about 50. Like, I'd say about $50. Like, Like, that's where you go, hold up. That's like $50, man. It's like a couple lunches. It's not much, but dang, dude, what the heck? Like $10 is almost to the point of just being known what I was here. Someone in chat says it is Amazon. No, it is not. It is Twitch. Twitch may be owned by Amazon, but it is up to Amazon whether the money is taken out of Twitch financials or if they cover it for Twitch. And considering the fact that Amazon covers a whole lot of other Twitch's costs, they are less likely to go ahead and cover this. Honestly, considering how much of a joke the Russian courts are right now, there's a good chance that they're just going to ignore this. Just because there's been way too many cases lately where it's just like, this is not a serious case. We're going to go ahead and appeal this. And then it's just going to go away. So we'll have to see how this goes. Or if it's just ever reported on again, ever. Chances are it's just going to be ignored entirely. Discord apparently is going to be going for a IPO, according to multiple sources. Now, this is just early talks. That's not actually happening. I'll just tell you this right now. I hope it doesn't. I really, really hope it doesn't. So for those who here doesn't know what an IPO is, now lower your hand. I can't see it. What an IPO is, because there's bound to be someone who doesn't know. It is an initial public offering. This means bringing the company public, meaning that shares of the company can be sold and then individual holders can own portions of the company. This is what we refer to as stocks. All right. But this also means that Discord is then going to be beholden to the stockholders and also how much their stock is worth. For a company like Discord that makes their money basically by selling information and also selling stickers, the benefit they get from raising money with an IPO is going to be greatly outweighed by losing their autonomy. It's still early talks. I'm hoping it's stupid people talking about these talks and there actually is no real serious talk about going public. Because for a company like Discord that really kind of prides itself on its independence and its just own way of doing things, being beholden to your stockholders is a terrible, terrible move. So we'll have to see what they actually do, but not gonna lie, not a good plan. There's also been other rumors that there's going to be new triggers in Twitch for hype trains, whatever that means. This is being reported by Zach Busey in what he means. We just don't know. We just don't know what's going to trigger these extra hype trains. And it's just a rumor right now of us going to do it. Right now, the only way to trigger a hype train is by bits and is by cheering with bits or subscribing or resubscribing. And each streamer sets their own individual threshold for what kicks it off. My stream being pretty small, I have my threshold set very, very low so that it's not that hard to hit. It's a pretty standard practice for smaller streamers. Larger streamers set the threshold higher so that it's not every hour on the hour a hype train is hit. So we'll have to see what is planned down the road. Usually when Zach reports on these kinds of reports, they're usually accurate. Like he does not have a track record of just like reporting on outlandish things that never happen. Usually if he's going to go ahead and report on something, he's got on good authority. Yes, it is going to happen. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Meanwhile, though, applications are now open to become a Twitch ambassador. What is a Twitch ambassador? Right now, a Twitch ambassador is a Twitch partner that swears allegiance to Twitch in exchange for exposure. I wish I was making that up, but that is basically what a Twitch ambassador is. They are partners that you normally see kind of on the front pages of Twitch or on various tweets that are just like basically like poster streamers of the platform and are usually given opportunities first, but are basically Twitch shills. And personally, I would not sign up for this. I would not sign up for this basically just because I prefer to be critical about platforms I like. I like Twitch. I really, really do. I like what Twitch has done for me. I like the fact that I can go ahead and go on Twitch and just stream to my heart's content, go out and be silly, be stupid, say dumb things and have fun. I like it. I got my starting on Twitch. I plan on streaming on Twitch. But man, if the first segment wasn't indicative of this, I hate the direction Twitch is going in. And I think Twitch needs help in getting back on track. And if you're an ambassador, you're going to lose a lot of that. You're going to lose your ambassadorship if you go ahead and be like that. It's like, no, you can't talk about that. I'm sorry, but I personally wouldn't do it. And I also feel that the badge of ambassadorship, if you were to say something critical about the platform or say positive things about the platform, actually only positive things about the platform, your opinion is taken infinitely less seriously because of this ambassador badge. Because now if you say that when you have this badge, I just know, well, that of course you're going to go ahead and say Twitch is amazing and everything. You're an ambassador. I'd be stunned if you didn't say that. So that is just my opinion. You can go ahead and do whatever you like. Kind of like how Chrome did whatever they liked and just decided, you know what? Ad blockers, dead. All of a sudden, one morning, roughly 120% of the internet fired up Chrome and found out they had a horrible thing show up on their websites. Ads. Ublock Origin was forcefully deactivated on every single Chrome client because it is no longer compliant with the browser, as the push for Manifest v3 protocol was pushed forward. And, well, that's it for Ublock Origin. And now the internet has to cope with the fact that they can now see ads consume their entire web page. Now, you might notice, if you're on the video page, I'm able to view a website like The Verge with massive white blocks without any ads. Let me tell you something. Because the thing is that this was a move not about killing ad blockers, but about moving everything to Manifest v3, the newest version of the Chrome add-on protocol. That's what it all was about. It just had the nasty side effect of killing the biggest ad blocker on the entire platform. Here's the thing. There is a Ublock Origin Lite, and that is Manifest v3 compliant. So you can, in fact, still get an ad blocker. Because let me tell you something. If this was about getting rid of ad blockers, either A, Google did a really bad job of it, or B, this would be gone. This would not be here. Lo and behold, it's still there. So if you prefer to not have your news pages be more ads than news, which is all too common nowadays, believe me, Ublock Origin Lite is available. I personally would recommend it, but at the same time, you are potentially denying a lot of content creators ad revenue, including eventually myself. So I shouldn't be promoting its use, but I also fully admit that it is difficult to use the internet without it. It really, really is. It is just, some websites are unviewable with it. So for those who want to go ahead and say, oh, ads forever, the end. Not quite. Speaking of ads, YouTube Premium has officially launched their YouTube Premium Lite. Someone in chat says they get all their news from AI agents. You know, that explains so much. That explains why half the stuff they say is inaccurate. Because holy smokes. Also, the sheer number of AI slop news sites on YouTube is staggering. My personal favorite was a AI weather video that tried to say that we have a new technology that was just introduced to help us detect storms sooner. It is a life-saving technology that uses radar to detect storms from a distance and get warnings out early. They describe Doppler radar. We have had this technology for several decades now. This is not new. I even commented on it. But yes, YouTube Premium now has a light version for $8 a month, which now makes most videos ad-free. Specifically ones in the gaming, fashion, beauty, news, and more categories, which YouTube, what's not included in this? Why does it say most? YouTube? Now, original posts said that the YouTube Premium Lite would just not include things like ad-free music. That was the original claim. I am very curious to find out what else is not included in Premium Lite. So Premium Lite, $8 a month. Premium that makes YouTube fully ad-free, music and music videos ad-free, and lets you download and play videos in the background. That is $14 a month. So there you go. You go ahead and decide if you want to use that or just roll the dice with how things go. In other news, YouTube is also stepping up their offers and giving you the ability to buy other streaming services through the YouTube TV app. Now, this is a design that a lot of other built-in TV platforms are trying to do that try to integrate everything. I'm sorry, I just read the dumbest sentence I've ever read in the chat. Why carry a phone? Free yourself by using a payphone. You're not freeing yourself from anything. You're now obligated to have any sort of out and about route be near a payphone. Also, where in the flock are you finding a payphone? I legit know of no remaining payphones, both out here in the semi-rural community I live in and in the more urban community I work in. They're all gone, including the ones in the library, where you'd expect payphones to still exist. Where are you finding a payphone? If it weren't for the fact that I have better things to do, I'd go ahead and hold the entire podcast hostage while they go ahead and prove that payphones still exist. But you know what? I got better things to do with my life. Like, where? Where is there even one left? Next, you're going to tell me I should free myself from fossil fuels by using a horse and buggy. Where would you get one? So yeah, YouTube TV giving everyone the ability to actually buy streaming services from other streaming services. So that is a feature that's going to be coming soon to YouTube. Shifting gears wildly, Western Digital will no longer be selling SSDs. Instead, their entire SSD division is going over to SanDisk. Much to my surprise, I did not know SanDisk was actually owned by Western Digital. I just always assumed SanDisk was their own company. SanDisk will now be taking over the entire Western Digital SSD department. They have now been spun off from their own company. Western Digital is going to focus exclusively on the things they currently do that are not SSD related, which, as far as I'm aware, are still spinning disk drives, which, granted, have more of a future than you'd think. I actually am curious. What is the biggest Western Digital drive? Like, it's got to be like 22 gigs, right? Or 22 terabytes? Yeah, it's in fact exactly that. Their Red Pro NAS hard drive capacity, 2 terabytes to 22 terabytes. They do have a MyBook that goes up to 24 terabytes. They also have a hard drive that is specifically for surveillance footage that goes up to 24 terabytes. Okay. Someone in chat says 8 terabytes was discussed. Whoop-de-doo! So yeah, SanDisk is now going to be in charge of solid-state drives for Western Digital. To which I say, good for them. I hope the best for SanDisk. Although, some of these designs needed help, though. Man, that is not great. So, I wish them the best. Meanwhile, though, Nvidia launches the RTX 5070 non-TI. Now, the 5070 non-TI is an interesting card because this card was announced for $500. Or no, it was $599. I'm sorry. $599. And it would compete with and beat the RTX 4090. Raise your hands, everyone. Do you think the 5070 beats the 4090 as far as raw performance? keep in mind, every other 50 series card has fallen well short of expectations. Do you think the trim down card beats the highest end last gen card? Well, the answer is yes, it does. If you enable all the AI based crutches with fake frames, hallucinations, FSR, render at a low resolution, and turn off all those same features for the 4090, it does win and gives you the world's crappiest gaming experience completely. I am glad some reviewers actually went ahead and showed some of the weirdness that comes out of this multi-frame gen, because it is just feeding bad frames into an AI that generates even worse frames, and you end up with things like 5 feet that exist on the same leg, or 3 bumpers on a car, or a fan that just sometimes has more blades, and it's bad, it's jarring, and it's something that personally I would hate. I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. This GPU is a disappointment, because the moment you turn off all the AI based crutches, this card barely beats the 4070, and I do mean barely. It's embarrassing. If you just went out and got a 4000 series, you look like the biggest brained person on the planet right now, because this 5000 series is atrocious. Oh, by the way, the 5070 does have a Founders Edition. The 5070 Ti does not. Also, the 5070 Ti launched at $250 higher than the MSRP. The 5070 launched as a piece of paper because the stock was almost nothing, sold out instantly, and is just basically went 100% to scalpers, because reviewers got a grand total of 20. When I say reviewers, I meant retailers. So let me make sure I got this straight. All right. The 50 series gives a worse gaming experience by using its key features, has almost near zero generational uplift when you're going from same tier card to same tier card, has the same amount of RAM, and runs in the exact same VRAM bottlenecks the previous gen did, thus also proving the statement of, thanks to AI, these cards use less RAM. BS, they don't. They actually use more RAM using these AI features, much to the surprise of literally no one with a functional brain. Like, I'm sorry. These cards, they do make me wonder if you have a legal case for false advertising. I really do wonder. Not to mention the fact that the GPUs are actually missing performance, because every single one of these cards right now, except for currently for the 5070, are missing ROPs, core components of the GPU. They're just not there. In addition to a bad power design that can melt the cable and the connector on the card providing power. What are you doing, Nvidia? Like, seriously, what is this? This is atrocious. This is gross. This is just the definition of failure. But here we are. We get to go ahead and look at this and realize, yep, that ain't great. That ain't great at all. Oh, but it gets better, because the next Nvidia products that are coming out are, in fact, the mobile GPUs. And guess what? Reports are coming out that manufacturers are checking all of their mobile GPUs for missing ROPs as well. Already functional laptops being open boxed to inspect to make sure that these GPUs are fine too. Someone in chat says Nvidia is making record profits. Are they though? Are they? Are they? Because I'll tell you what, that don't look like record profits. That looks like yikes. Let's go bigger. Nope, no, look at that. Yeah, no, they aren't making record profits. They're losing money. Their stock price is taking a significant hit. This might be the most we have seen Nvidia fail in a long time. I do wonder how many of these problems are also being seen on the professional side of things. Someone in chat said stock prices and financials. We don't have their financials, so that's all we can go by. You don't have this quarter's financials yet. So all you have to go by is the stock price. So you can't even say they're making record profits. You don't have the numbers either. Take that. You can't include January 2025. That's not including any of this stuff that just happened. You literally can. That is the dumbest statement you have said so far, chatter. You can't just say January 2025 when all of their problems happened after that. Just ignore all that. Ignore all the bad. Ignore the car that crashed. Ignore that train that collapsed. Ignore that plane that just landed, that just went ahead and landed nose first into that river over there. Ignore all of that. Look at the good times. No, you literally cannot. Bad. Your argument is trash. That is the worst take you've had so far in trying to troll me here. Awful. No, Nvidia's doing bad right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And there ain't nothing you can do to look at this and say, it's fine. No, this isn't good. And you know what's making that even worse? We'll get to that after this break. We'll get to the Radeon RX 9070 and how that launch is going. Because let me tell you, that's a far more interesting launch than just failing to do anything. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, let's move on a little bit. We were talking a little bit about during the break about Nvidia and their stat. Currently, I'm very curious about just how much more quality control Nvidia is putting into the data center GPUs. Because clearly right now, the quality control on their consumer cards is non-existent. There clearly isn't any. Because they would have done some validation to make sure that the GPUs weren't missing ROPs. And they would have gone ahead and load tested these cards and realized, the connectors are getting hot. That can't be good. You can't tell me they're doing any kind of quality control when these issues exist. And I have to wonder, when they're shipping out their data center cards, they're doing quality control, right? Because if they're not, and these same things exist, you got a problem. You got a serious problem. Meanwhile, AMD launched the RX 9070 and 9070 XT. And someone in chat says EVGA dropped them. I mean, it's very obvious why EVGA dropped Nvidia, why EVGA got out of the GPU business, because AMD wasn't competitive. They were Nvidia exclusive, and Nvidia just didn't care. Nvidia was directly competing with the board partners, making it so the board partners could make barely any profit. And EVGA is just like, look, we can't go ahead and do what we do best, and we're out. Bye. Like, looking back at it, EVGA was the canary in the coal mine. They really were. Because they were one of the best NVIDIA GPU makers in the business, aside from NVIDIA themselves. And when they looked at the situation they're facing and said, we're done, I mean, that sent shockwaves around the PC building industry. And in hindsight, it's obvious. Getting out was the right decision. It really, really was. And to which I say, good on you, or good on you, EVGA. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's a shame. We miss you. But God, I'd hate to work with this. Meanwhile, AMD, they launched the RX 9070 and 9070 XT. There are no first-party versions of this card. It is all board partner cards. Now, these two GPUs, they compete very well against the NVIDIA cards. Like, to the point where it's a no-brainer. If you are in the business of getting a new GPU, it's a no-brainer. Get a 9070 or get a 9070 XT. And really, it should be a 9070 XT just because there's only a $50 difference between the two. And here's the wild thing. You know what the crazy thing is? These cards were in stock. Now, originally, these cards were going to be sold much earlier. All right. And they're going to be sold for more. It's very obvious considering what ended up happening. Because after the original launch, the MSRP prices for these cards vanished. And it ended up afterwards costing about $100 more. The reason being is that the original cost of these cards were going to be $100 higher. And according to Hardware Unboxed, AMD were giving credit back to retailers for the launch day to sell it at these lower prices, and these vouchers ran out, and thus the price of these cards went back up so that the retailers could, of course, turn a profit and not eat a loss. But apparently, future copies of the card will be at the lower price, and MSRP values should be returning soon. But other than that little hiccup, and eventually running out of cards, despite the fact that there were cards in stock almost everywhere pretty much all week until like the very tail end of the week. Like for the first time in a long time, AMD actually had a pretty successful GPU launch. Right now, it is difficult, extremely difficult to recommend any Nvidia GPU other than, a used one. Quite frankly, I'm actually very curious to see what the next cards in the 9000 series for AMD is going to include. For now, though, let's wait and see. Or we could be crazy people. Look, if you want to go ahead and be an insane person, we should instead put all our hopes in a new competitor in the GPU space. A new competitor came in. They go by the name of Bolt Graphics. And Bolt says they plan on having a new GPU they're calling the Zeus that is going to be double the performance of the 5090 out by next year. First off, they're not going to do it with SO-DIMMs on the board. I'll just tell you that right now. That ain't happening. Second, you're going to double the fastest GPU in the world right now? The 5090? Really? Look, I know the 5090 was not a great upgrade compared to the other one, compared to the 4090. But look, if you're going to sell me some BS, can you at least make it believable? You might as well tell me I have 2 winning lottery tickets in my wallet right now. You might as well tell me that the Nigerian prince email that's in my email box actually is real, and he actually has an inheritance of $20 trillion coming my way. Like, that's actually real. That's more believable than the fact that this GPU is going to outperform the RTX 5090 by double. It ain't happening. There's no way. As much as Nvidia is hurting right now, no. It's just no. A for effort. Someone in chat said the Algerian prince is real. That's how you're going to afford your car's extended warranty. Can I just say, I love the fact that so many of these car extended warranty people don't even bother looking up the car, and that when I give them the model of a semi truck, they don't believe me when I say that the sucker's factory warranty is higher than their extended warranty, and I love it so much. Meanwhile, though, Apple, out of seemingly nowhere, announced a bunch of new stuff. First off, we have a brand new iPad. No kidding, we have a brand new iPad. There's not much of an upgrade to the new iPad. The only real difference is the fact it is now using an A16 chip, and it does not feature Apple Intelligence, which, by the way, might be the biggest selling point of any Apple product right now. Oh, we're sorry, sir, but this cheaper product is not going to support Apple Intelligence. I'll take your entire stock. I actually do legitimately wonder how many normal people are actively trying to find products that have generative AI in it. Actually going, ooh, I really, really want that feature. Ooh, I really want the ability to make nightmare fuel on my phone. Ooh, that's such a good feature. I'm sure there are people out there. I just know of none of them. So yeah, new generation, regular iPad out. I want to state this is the regular iPad. Regular iPad. I know that's confusing, but that starts at $349, which, yeah, it's not bad. Also, it does support USB-C. Hooray. Next up, the new iPad Air got an update. It has a brand new keyboard, which features USB-C and a slightly better design, as well as the M3 chip is now on board. Zone in chat asked, does it have? What's a headphone jack? You know what? There's your answer. What's a headphone jack? Anyone else want to ask dumb questions? It's an Apple product. Of course, there's no headphone jack. There hasn't been a headphone jack on their mobile products that aren't a laptop in frickin' what, 10 years? They're not going to magically bring back the headphone jack. Stop asking stupid questions. I'm lying. That's not a stupid question. Yes, it is. No, I take that back. It is a stupid question. No, there's not a headphone jack on the basic iPad. Guess what? There's not one on the iPad Air that just got a new M3 chip for no reason. They only have headphone jacks on their desktops and laptops. And here's a spoiler alert. That's the exact same thing with pretty much the entire computer industry now. The only things that have headphone jacks are pretty much maybe a select number of legacy phones. And I do mean legacy phones, laptops, and desktops. That's it. What is with people asking silly things today? Jeez, getting nothing but them today. Yeah, iPad Air features a brand new keyboard, a new M3 chip, which is way more power than the iPad needs. It has it. It's going to start at like $700. What does it start at, actually? iPad Air starts at $600. Actually, not bad. iPad Mini's at $500. For $100 more, you get a lot better CPU and a bigger screen. iPad Mini is suffering. Also, not going to lie, I am very quickly checking through the specs to make sure that these iPads actually do not have a headphone jack, because I actually now started to doubt myself. Okay, yeah, they do not contain a headphone jack. Oddly enough, the iPad Air doesn't include face scanning either, which is interesting. Up next after that is the new MacBook Air that is featuring the new M4 chip, as well as a new color, the sky blue color, that does include a headphone jack. That does not include the signature tapering down to almost a razor thin edge that the MacBook Air was known for. It actually just looks like a slim MacBook Pro all the way through. But that is now available for $999. The rare price decrease from Apple. So now you have a choice. Do you get a MacBook Air, or do you get 24 eggs? You see, Apple's generous. MacBook actually cheaper than eggs. I actually don't know what the actual going rate of eggs is off the top of my head. I remember the last time I glanced by in the grocery store and looked at the price of eggs, I was like, ooh, yikes, and just kept walking. And then finally, the last bit of Apple news that was announced, and this one is very interesting. The Mac Studio, the desktop that, yes, includes a headphone jack, now has the features of either up to an M4 Max or a brand new M3 Ultra. No, there is not an M4 Ultra, nor will there ever be an M4 Ultra. So let's explain what the Ultra chips are. Apple has 4 different tiers of CPU, or rather SoC. You have normal, Pro, Max, Ultra. And inside there, the numbers can vary just to piss you off even more. The normal is the baseline. That is the entry level of that product. It is meant to be low performance, high performance per watt. The Pro version is meant to sacrifice a little bit more and consume a bit more power, but performs very well. The Max actually is the maximum you can squeeze out of that chip's architecture. That is the maximum configuration you can expect, and there's different internal tiers of that card, of that chip. The Ultra is literally two Max chips glued together using like an infinity fabric sort of thing. The M4s lack this infinity fabric, and thus you cannot get an M4 Ultra because you can't glue two M4 Maxes together. You can do it with the M3 Ultra. So this means that with the M3 Ultra, you can expect up to 512 gigabytes or half a terabyte of unified memory that is shared between both the CPU and the GPU, and up to 16 terabytes of solid state storage in what is basically a Mac Mini on steroids. Someone in chat says the only thing attractive about the MacBook Air is an M4 chip is priced lower than an Nvidia card. You know what's terrible? Here's what's really terrible. I am unironically curious what performs better. Does the M4 chip in a MacBook Air perform better at AI tasks than the mid-range Nvidia card that costs the exact same? Someone's going to work on this. Like, someone is going to go ahead and put this head to head. It's probably going to be Linus, if I had to guess, because he's the only one dumb enough to answer this question that no one has. Because this is just how absolutely insane Nvidia is just pricing themselves. Because their GPUs are underperforming and are catastrophically overpriced. And god dang it, if you know you're in a weird tech universe when Apple computers prices can be justified and actually look like a decent deal compared to PC parts. Granted, this is a moment of good guy Apple, but it says a lot more about the space of computer components out of Nvidia than anything else. Everything's just insane. That's just all there is to it. Everything is crazy. Everything. Meanwhile, though, Brazil is giving Apple 90 days to allow sideloading on iOS, or else. Brazil is saying that Apple has proven time and time again that yes, you can in fact get sideload, or rather Apple has shown that they can get sideloading working on in accordance to other courts, and thus Brazil is saying, wait a minute, you can do it. We are now requiring you to do it to be in compliance with the laws here. You have 90 days or else. Whoops. So if you are desperate to go ahead and get an iPhone that you can sideload emulators onto, you know what? You know what might be an attractive answer? A trip down to Brazil. I don't know why, but it might be an answer. Meanwhile, though, new word is coming out about the Snapdragon X2. This is going to be the new high-end CPUs for Windows PCs. That is going to have upwards of 16 CPU cores, as well as up to 48 gigabytes of memory. Basically, more and more we're seeing Snapdragon X2 is coming. It is going to perform better, which means that ARM-powered Windows laptops might actually be good. Well, we'll see. We will see. Personally, I know I keep harping on this, but I got to harp on it a little bit more. I am far more interested in the ability of these Windows or these ARM for Windows laptops to be able to install Linux. Because again, I got to look at the state of Windows and say, you know, it's not looking great. It just isn't. And I'd rather just get out of Windows. We'll have to wait and see how that goes as well. Although who knows, maybe Windows will just get better before Windows 10 runs out. Meanwhile, great news. TSMC announces they're going to have a $100 billion investment in the US. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about Mobile World Congress. Mobile World Congress introduced a lot of interesting computers and whatnot, including some insane things from Lenovo, such as this solar-powered laptop. I am dead serious. Lenovo made the Yoga Solar PC concept, which I'm not gonna lie, I at first thought that it was running an ARM CPU, and that is why it could get away with being solar powered. No, they're actually running an RTX GPU in it, meaning that it's also rocking an Intel CPU. How much extra battery is the solar panel is going to actually add? Like, seriously. Like, this is a missed opportunity. This should have been the ARM powered laptop. Oh, well, we can make it high powered. Oh, good. It's high powered and has an hour of battery life. That the solar panel will extend to an hour and 2 minutes. Ooh. I would have far preferred to have seen the Windows for ARM powered laptop with solar panels on it, and then watch the solar panels extend the battery life of the laptop from like a couple of days to a week of just like on and off performance, or potentially even the holy grail of indefinite. Like, I doubt it'd be true indefinite, because if you go ahead and use it, you know, for a full 20 hours straight watching YouTube videos, it's probably going to die. But just for like light work, getting battery from the getting power back from the office lights or the sun, there was some real potential here, and they blew it. Granted, it's also a concept, so we will most likely never see this laptop ever again, which is a shame. I like it. I want to see more of it. What I don't want to see more of is this nightmare laptop that looks like it's going to collapse in on itself. The what do they call this? The Yoga Book Flip AI PC concept. A trifold laptop that has the screen fold upwards to look like a screen that's going to collapse in on itself at any moment. That I hate it. I hate it. Lenovo, I'll give you credit. You're cooking. You're cooking something. You need to stop cooking. Okay? This is a little burnt. Okay? Maybe it's over, maybe it's under. The fact that your very fragile folding screen folds out on the outside is a very bad choice. You should not be doing that, but you did it anyway, for better or for worse. There was also a concept that had the touchpad light up to be a number pad. We've seen these kind of things before. They're awful, in my opinion. And I could have swore I had an article also here about a multi-screen laptop that extended out to have 2 additional screens. And maybe I just do not have that at all. Oh, it looks like I don't have that. But they do have, Lenovo did show off a laptop that does have 2 additional screens that pop out of the main screen on a thicker laptop. And quite frankly, that was the most interesting laptop they had, other than the solar powered one, if the solar power one ran on ARM. But you know, it needs to go back in the oven or start over. It's one of the two. Meanwhile, a new company from Zero, or rather a new phone from Zero, introduces a trifold design. Ooh, a folding phone that folds 3 times. Here's the thing. Normally when you think of a tri-folding phone, you think of a phone that unfolds into a tablet, right? Oh no. These guys who pulled the pot roast out of the oven way too early have their tri-folding phone unfold into a regular size phone, so that when it's compressed, it's just a teeny tiny phone with part of its screen exposed to your pocket and scratching the ever-living heck out of it. Oh, I miss you, trade shows. I miss these sort of things, because there's just, you guys have some ideas that are just, wow, that was terrible. Now, there's probably people out there that love the idea, that have a very small pocket and go like, oh my God, if my big phone like this, that's the size of my forearm, could fold 3 times into a little thing that just fits tightly and nicely in my little skinny jeans. Ooh, that'd be really nice. That's what a number of you are thinking. The problem is that it exposes part of the screen to the pocket, meaning that any sort of pocket sand you have in there is going to scratch and ruin the screen. And by ruin, I mean you could literally pull it out of your pants and the screen is dead thanks to pocket sand. Yeah, no, this is a bad idea. It's cute, it's interesting, but it is a bad idea. Meanwhile, I did forget one other thing from Lenovo, and that is, I just realized I gotta move some stuff around, and that is this USB-C connected AI side compute stick, where if your computer doesn't support AI compute, by God, thanks to USB-C, it now can, by having a coprocessor on the outside. I hate the future. I hate this. We have serious concerns that your computer cannot handle AI compute. Now it can. No, that's fine. I didn't want AI compute. Stop literally shoving it down my throat. Soon you won't have a choice. It's just coming for you, regardless. No escape. No escape. Also, Xiaomi introduced a phone at Mobile World Congress that, well, it's part camera and part trypophobia. This thing has 5 camera lenses inside of what looks like one giant camera lens, with the backing looking very much like an old school camera. And just, my God, they really want this Ultra 15 or 15 Ultra smartphone to really, really focus on photography. To which I say, sure, why not? You got to go ahead and you do what you got to do. I wonder if people will recognize that the design is supposed to be like a phone. Or the camera, I mean. Meanwhile, Samsung reveals a new concept phone, a gaming smartphone that folds in half, and when it opens up, you have actual analog joysticks and a couple of buttons to really power up your gaming while looking like a Nintendo Switch we have at home. Seriously, what is with Mobile World Congress this year and just seeming really, really half-baked? Like, we are just so short. We are one can sort of a six-pack over at Mobile World Congress. It is wild how things were just so close to being interesting and just came up short. Kind of like this new feature from DJI and giving car manufacturers the ability to come built in with a drone to make your road trips more interesting. Why? You want to get some POV shots of you going 70 down the highway? Is the drone going to be able to keep up? What happens if the drone runs out of batteries trying to keep up with your 70 mile an hour down the highway car? I have so many questions. I mean, my questions are unjustified that it can easily keep up, and I'm just behind on the times on what drones are capable of. But man, I gotta ask, why? This just feels, why? Like, what? Why? But that is the thing that now exists. Kind of like this also exists. A phone with a back that will change color like a mood ring. The Infinix e-color shift 2.0 technology changes the color of the back of your phone based on what it feels from a touch sensor that changes color based on your mood. You know what? No, of all the dumb things, you know what? I'm actually kind of in on this one. I'm actually curious to see how this one goes. I actually want to see this thing come to the market. I want to see all these things come to the market and just let fate decide their fate. But this one I actually legitimately want to see in the wild. How well does it work? Like if you see a guy, like if you annoy a guy while he's actively using his mood phone, does the back just start turning more and more and more red as you piss him off? Like, how good is this thing? Am I asking too weird of questions? I might be asking too weird of questions. Speaking of asking too weird of questions, I bring you the last burb, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, scientists asked a very big question that no one asked before. They asked, what if we could bring back the woolly mammoth by using mice? And for some reason, scientists have done it. They have selectively bred a woolly mouse. All right, look, okay? It's time for honesty, all right? I get that trying to bring back an extinct species is a massive scientific breakthrough, but let's be perfectly honest. You are far less concerned about bringing back the woolly mammoth and far more concerned with curing baldness. I am convinced that is what this research is actually about. It is about removing the plague of baldness from Jeff on the team. I mean, from society as a whole, to figure out why we bald and how to prevent it. That's what this is really, truly about. It's either that or actually producing some pretty dang cute mice. I'm not gonna lie. The woolly floof mouse actually is pretty cute. Granted, I got a bad feeling about its fate in the world, and just what kind of small parasites and whatnot are going to remain hidden under that super thick fur of the woolly mouse in the wild. Folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening, and I do encourage you to check out my other works at youtube.com/EagleFalcon and twitch.tv/EagleFalcon. Take care, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. The real question is, what's the next step for our woolly mammoth bringbackers? So we started small case. We brought back we made a woolly mouse. What's the next step? Bring a woolly cat, then woolly dog, woolly bear. Oh god, the world is not ready for woolly bears. Then a woolly tiger, and then the woolly mammoth. How many more floofy, dangerous animals are we going to create that are going to have a greater chance of wiping out all of humanity before we can wipe ourselves out? That is the question we really need to ask. Oh, who am I kidding? I just want a fluffy cat to pet. I'd be fine with that.